According to the program, I was given 10 minutes. 10 minutes to say what I feel I should say. And at a very historic program like this, based on my own personal standing, being a very, very senior armored corps officer, not only a tanker, but a weapons and armament instructor also, in which training we did in India with General Temlong when we were lieutenants. I've seen General Temlong here, Jonathan, but don't tell them other issues we had in India. We were lieutenants and we were there. Based on my seniority also in the armored corps, being the royal father of the day, or rather of every day, being given 10 minutes, I said, well, I'll use my seniority. Seniors have always putted junior officers, right from NDA. And today too, the putting continues. Because I will take as much time as I want to say what I feel I should say, because such programs are so important, and we must not lose sight of such programs. The reunion of these distinguished senior officers of the one and only armored corps. But I used to tell people, and I'm still telling them, and I'll continue to tell them, there are only two corps in the military: armored corps and the rest. So that's why this morning we co-opted Tawrid into the armored corps so that he can belong to us. It's an opportunity for us having the Chief Army Staff at such a reunion. Mostly they used to send representatives, either the G3D or general from Abuja or some. So today we are privileged to have the chief himself. And I had to drive all the way from Katsina yesterday in the evening. I arrived here at about 8 p.m. just to make sure that I attend this program, because it avails us of the opportunity to see each other once more. Because so many years have passed and so many of us have been so close, and we kept on talking to one another on phone. So I'm taking as much time as I want. I call them to set up my musings as a senior officer. My comments might inspire some of you, how I came through some of these things, maybe in the next 15 minutes. Some might even maybe anger some of you. Some comments might also discourage some of you, maybe. But I believe we need to talk to ourselves. First, when I joined the Nigerian Army, not by mistake, but by providence, it was General Danjuma, who was Chief Army Staff, went to Sokoto. I've given this brief sometimes, so many years back, but I think it's important when Chief is here and all our generals and armored corps retirees are here, and requested our father, the dear Sultan III, to send his children to the army, because we don't have royal princes rather in the army then. And we were taken to NDA. General Jallo was commandant, and we took tea in commandant's office as clowns. Then we went back and filled our forms. Then we went back to Sokoto for the entrance exam. Then out of 7 of us, only 3 of us passed the exam. Then the 3 of us went for the selection board in Kaduna at NDA. Only myself passed the selection board. So that's how I got in the army as the only prince from the royal family. We reported to NDA 30th June 1975, exactly 49 years ago, with some few days to come. We're in June. 49 years ago, we reported to NDA to start the most famous 18th Regular Combatant Corps. Because 18th Corps produced Sultan. So, and unfortunately, there won't be any Sultan from any regular corps because nobody is in the army. Others can come. but they just can't be from the armored corps or even from the army for now. And when I joined the NDA, I was given my NDA resource number as NDA 1144. Take note, that was my number in NDA. I don't know, Chavrid, what's your number? NDA what? 4240. See the gap. But you are the boss now of the army, by God's grace. I was given 1144. That was my number. And when I graduated from NDA, when I passed out rather, 17 December 1977, I was allotted number N6022. MS Army, what's your number? 9. Oh. You can see the gap. But one thing you should be happy with, you are MSA, MS Ahmed. I'm MSA, MS Abubakar. So you are lucky. Upon graduation, you normally all pass through the same NDA. We pick the course we want to join. And then the NDA commandant, the commandant, CBC will decide. And there was this policy of the top 5 at each graduation class or course are given their first choices. And I think I was number 3 or 4. And I selected PT Co as my first choice. Because I was very athletic, I had been playing football, I was very sporty. And I liked the jumping on the horses, the rope issues, the whatever it is. So I felt I would be very happy in PTCO. Then the CBC called me and said, Abubakar, you will not go to PTCO. You will go to Amotco. And I didn't say anything to him. I said, okay, sir. You don't argue. And I said, okay, sir. He chose Amotco for me. He said, but if you go to MS for your documentation, you can change it there to anywhere you want. So I said, okay, sir. I saluted and went out of his office. But leaving that office and then going to Bonicam for the documentation, I never looked back. I never changed the Amotco. And I thank God I did not change from the Amotco, and I still stayed at the Amotco, and I'm still in the Amotco. So that's how God Almighty does his things. Because when certain things happen, you sometimes wonder how and why. But you don't challenge God. He's the overall. He does whatever he wants. He gives whom he wants at the time he wants. And when he wants to take it from you, he takes it from you without even warning you. So nobody should feel he's indisposable. Because we believe God Almighty is the one who does everything. Whatever happens in our lives is God Almighty that has allowed it to happen. We are proud officers of the Armored Corps and of the Nigerian Army. And most people God used to allow us to move up from the days we were second lieutenants, captains, until we got to the time when wearing my uniform, I was just pulled out without being asked, and I became Sultan. 2nd November 2006. Today is almost 18 years, like yesterday. And these 18 years have been very, very memorable years for me, because there is no state in this country except Ebonyi that I have not visited. None. Either my position as the chairman of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria, or co-chairman of the Nigerian Religious Council, or president of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, I have gone to all 35 states of this country except Ebonyi. So if Ebonyi governor is listening, it's a challenge few. It's the only state I have not been to, but I have been to all the 35 states in the past 18 years. I'm saying this for people to know. Sometimes some things you do, there are so many people who have been behind you, without people knowing it. We're in the military now, and so many things have been geared towards where do you come from? Who is a Muslim? Who is a Christian? Who is Hausa? Who is Fulani? Who is Igbo? We never knew this thing so many years ago. And Tauri don't allow this thing to creep into the army. Because that will be the one thing that will divide the army or even the country. Because the army is the last hope of the common man in this country. I'm saying army, and I mean army. Because I was in Pakistan as a DA. Pakistan is an army country. whoever Chief of Army Staff is the boss of the country. There are other services, yes, Air Force, Navy, yes, but they are not up to maybe a division of Nigerian Army. But we have joint operations. So many people that we worked with who helped in bringing me up from the day I was a second lieutenant till I got out of the service. And then funnily enough, I was retired 30th December 2006. I was appointed Sultan 2nd November 2006. So those days of November and December, for 2 months, I was still wearing uniform as a brigadier general. Now I thought coming here, MSA will give me also a tank suit to see whether I will be able to fit into it. Because for those two months, I was still in the army, technically speaking. And so I left the service 30th December 2006, after 31 years in the military, counting with my NDA years. And today, I can look back all of and say, so many officers, so many generals, so many colonels, so many of them are here. JB Ahmadu, Garba, and so on and so forth. We work together closely, and we never showed any difference between us being from Ebonyi or from Rivers or from where. So many people who helped me in critical times in my military career, even non-Muslims. I can tell you clearly, General Ogumudia, when he was doing what he wanted, I was very close to him. I was always passing by his office to take tea whenever I traveled to Sokoto. When he became Chief of Army Staff, I was very close to him. He appointed me DA. Some people refused. He said, no, it's me he is speaking. He was Chief of Army Staff. Aguai is not a Muslim. He's still alive. The two of them are still alive and very, very strong. I'm making this comment for you to know those who could lift you or who could help you might not be a family members or whatever it is. That's the essence of being in military service, in army in particular, for us to be our brothers' keepers. We must hold on to this cherished position that we always hold, because God doesn't make mistakes. When He picks us out of so many bunches, then push us into the army, and then best of all, into the armored corps. I'm sorry to read. I keep on saying ammo because I don't know any other corps except ammo. But for today, you are ammo, because you are commanding the ammo. Yeah. And I think it's important for us to keep on bringing back those memorable years where we had been so close to one another, feeding one another. But now, maybe we've got some places, it's not like that. We must bring back the good old days in our military. We must show love and respect to one another. Whatever we feel we must do, I think we have to do it. And I think that the chief has been on a very, very good footing so far. I've had so many comments. I never knew him before, until when he was GOC one day. And then some people came and talked to me that the way this GOC is working, very soon the insurgency will be, in this part of the country will be over. I say, who? They say it's 1 lakh Baja. I say, me, I don't know. I've not heard of him. Which cause are you? 39. No wonder I don't know you. But no, I'm telling you this. You know, it's a public thing, and I want to say it here. I never knew him, but when he was GOC, I was informed of his activities, and I was very impressed. So when he was Chief of Army, I said, "Oh, okay. I think this one is going to change the situation in the army, especially security-wise." Now, within 1 year, see what he has done. When I passed by the headquarters, I was so impressed. I was so happy to see such a building being the headquarters of my own corps. But I really thank you very much. So you are one of us, because that building means a lot to us. So we thank Almighty Allah for this blessing, because He does what He wants to do to whom He wants. He gave you the command at this time. He gave us the leadership at this time. And we must work together. We must work together. Whether we like it or not, we must work together. Nigeria is a very big country. Nigeria is a very loving country. When you go out of the country, for some of us that have gone around the world, you will want to run back to Nigeria at every time. So let's not just continue castigating our leaders, our commanders, or whatever it is. In every situation, you have bad people. But I keep on saying there are more good people than bad people in any society. Those bad people are within the army or armed forces must be fished out and then kicked away. They should not continue to spoil our names, because the good ones are much, much more in number. And that's why I want to suggest to the Chief Army Staff, recruitment situation or procedure in the army has to be streamlined. You must use the traditional rulers of everybody, of everywhere. They are the ones who know the good people, who know the bad people. I was shocked one day when there was one very stupid area boy in Sokoto. The next day I saw him was in uniform of road safety corps. I said, what are you doing? He said, I joined road safety. I said, you? Then I'm sorry for the road users. Very, very bad boy. And I have not seen him. How did he get into road safety? There are so many of such criminals who will come in with papers, forged papers, go for recruitment with forged certificates, and they got into the army, and then when they get to their unit, too bad. These are people who turn to killing innocent people and collecting their money. You have a big job on your hand. I think we have to symbolize the way we bring people into the army, because we have to really know that whom do we bring. We all know what happened abroad, especially in UK, before you are even taken into the service. So we want to thank the commander. We are here today because I want to tell you we are very mobile. I left Sokoto 2 days ago by road. I had security of soldiers. Took me to Katsina, spent 2 days. They brought me back to Bauchi. I'm spending 2 days. I was here yesterday and today. Tomorrow I'm going to Zaria from here for another program. My secondary school mates, I'm hosting them in Zaria, who have just marked 50 years since we left secondary school. Today 49 here, tomorrow next one is 50 years. From there to Abuja for another meeting. You can imagine Sokoto, Katsina, Bauchi, Zaria, Abuja, all by road. So I've seen a lot of things. And I think we're doing a lot. You cannot have any more loyal and ready to work soldiers like the soldiers of Nigerian army. I have said it so many times at so many fora. They need very good command. They need to be lifted morally, be equipped to the highest level, and they will do wonders. So it's a challenge to you because we know those boys. We have worked with them. I was in charge for the OE peacekeeping operation for 6 months. I know what we did. I was in Pakistan as a DA, and I've seen the war. I was in Sierra Leone as a commander at ECOMOG in Freetown. I've seen the bravery of our soldiers in Sierra Leone. And we protected them, we guarded them, and we didn't allow anybody to misuse them. And they are very, very loyal. They are very, very committed. You need to bring them together, get good commanders everywhere. Then the army will be something that you will all be very proud of. But I believe we have a lot to do, and we will readily, at any time, come to your aid and call on that this forum. I would like to call on Nigerians. Please stop insulting the military, especially the army. They are doing their best at very, very tight programs. They are doing their best. Help them, pray for them, because without security, we can't even sleep. We can't even go to worship God that created us to worship Him. Security is the most important thing. Without security, you can't have any development. So please, all our structures in the country must support our military at every time. The good ones be brought back to where they are supposed to be, the bad ones removed, and I believe we have what it takes. Finally, and I want you to laugh when I say it. Oh, you are already laughing before, you are laughing before I said it. So take back your laughter. If not, I won't say it. When I went to the NDA selection board for a 10th regular course, the chairman was General Eromobo. He was GOC 1 I don't even know where he is now. I think he must have passed on. He was the chairman of the selection board. Then, of course, as they called us, I felt we said it was normally in the middle with a short and wide vest with the number. And then all these people around you looking at you, throwing questions at you. But they knew who I am. So they know how I got to be there. But I passed through the exam. I was the only person. So the next thing was for them to ask me questions. And then the last question, the General Eramobo asked me, yes, mister. I said, sir. You know, I said, sir. He said, hey, if we picked you to join the army, I said, yes, sir. And then you, in the army, you keep on rising, and you became a general. I said, yes, sir. And they now ask you to come and be Sultan of Sokoto. Which one do you choose? So I told him, honestly, I will stay in the army. All of them in the whole busted out laughing. They say, it's a lie. We know you are saying this because you want us to select you. We have selected you. Go and sit down. So thank you very much for this. And may God bless you.
Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I thank the Commander Amoko, the Desert Fox himself, for inviting me to Bauchi, the home of the Armor, for the second edition of the Biennial Armor Reunion and Pulling House Parade. I can categorically say that I was left with no other choice but to make it to this event because the Commander Amoko practically smoked me out of Abuja by unleashing all the senior armor officers in the service, particularly the likes of my Chief of Policy and Plans, the Director General, Nigerian Army Heritage and Future Center, and of course the Commandant, Nigerian Defense Academy. Well, thanks to your tenacity, I've come, and I must say from the onset that as I stepped out from the aircraft, I've had no regrets coming personally to honor this invitation. This visit to Bauchi has been a unique opportunity for me to accomplish multiple objectives. I've had the honor of meeting the representative of His Excellency the Governor of Bauchi State, His Excellency the Deputy Governor. I've met with the Emir of Bauchi, and I will interact with my brave officers and soldiers later. It has also been a privilege to engage with our esteemed retired army officers, including His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, whom the Vice President, His Excellency Kashim Shettima, aptly described as representing an idea during the Northwest Security Forum that was held in Katsina on Monday. Your Eminence, I only hope that you are here out of your free will as a distinguished retired tanker and not as a result of Desert Fox strategic persuasion or subtle compulsion, as is my case. Your Excellencies, senior officers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I feel highly honored and privileged to address this esteemed gathering as part of the Biennial Armor Reunion, during which we will commission the new headquarters, Nigerian Army Armored Corps, and some other impactful projects undertaken by the Army headquarters. When the Commander Armored Corps approached me with two weighty requests of buying original equipment manufacturer spares to fix the T-55 tanks and building a befitting headquarters through direct labor, or what I termed using armor engineers, I did not hesitate to approve both requests. By the time both approvals and some others were given, It was not that the Nigerian Army had funds in abundance. As a matter of fact, it was at a low cash period. But knowing the persons superintending over the Armor Corps, that he is such a go-getter, I consider his request an opportunity to get the project done, and done very well. I'm glad I made that decision, as what I've seen of the new Armor Corps headquarters is a proof that is visible to all that is a job well done. The Armor Corps and his team have become a reference point in construction in the Nigerian Army as they completed the job in record time. I therefore thank the Commander Armor Corps for initiating and executing the legacy projects. I congratulate you and your men for writing your names in gold for generations to come after to refer to with pride. History is experience, and according to the popular saying, one cannot buy experience in the market. By virtue of the Armor Reunion, the Nigerian Army Armor Corps has continued to pass down rich history, culture, and experience to the younger generations. This biennial Armor Reunion, as mentioned earlier by the Commander Armor Corps, was conceived and initiated in 2014. And I'm pleased to note that a decade on, it still lives up to its objective of bringing together both serving and retired seasoned armor officers to deliberate and find solutions to contemporary issues affecting the Corps and the larger Nigerian Army. Although the main lecture and deliberation for the reunion held yesterday, one such contemporary issue, I believe, should agitate every senior army officer, particularly the retired ones, is the spate of requests to change from the armor to other corps, which some believe has been particularly aggravated in the past 2 decades by the counter-terrorism, counter-insurgency operations engagement of the Nigerian Army. Agreed, all the Nigerian Army personnel are made to perform basic infantry roles in our counter-terrorism, counter-insurgency operations. But this is not the first time this has happened. Nigerian Army Armor Corps personnel, like others, perform the same infantry role effectively during Operation Liberty in Liberia, Operation Sandstorm in Sierra Leone, and Operation Harmony 4 in the Bakassi Peninsula. Yet, the armor spirit soared then. So, what is actually responsible for the recent quest to change from the armor to other corps? What has happened to the armor spirit? Pride, family value, and culture that used to make almost every passing out cadet of the Nigerian Defense Academy dream of adorning the black beret and the fat yellow and ox blood red liard. In fact, I almost threw away my own infantry beret then when we passed out from the Nigerian Defense Academy, from the way John Ochai was prancing all over the place with the armor liard and the beret. Are the issues internal or external, or both? How can the issues be remedied to bring back the glory days of the Armor Corps? I leave these and many more such pertinent questions to keep agitating the minds of every armor personnel. And because the time allotted to this reunion may not be sufficient to come up with workable options, to address issues raised, the Commander Armor Corps who requests for papers from his officers and even some willing retired officers to help remedy this unpleasant trend. I know the Armor Corps is not short of sound minds and eggheads to find a solution to this challenge. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I must commend the Armor Corps renewed drive to get its equipment serviceable to support the Nigerian Army operations across the country. The Army Headquarters remains committed to working with the Corps and the Nigerian Army Electrical and Mechanical Engineers to facilitate the acquisition of necessary spares to make our armor platforms serviceable for training and operations. To this end, we have commenced the overhaul of the T-72 tanks, placed order for tank ammunition, and worked on other training packages for both the Nigerian Army Armored Corps and the Nigerian Army Electrical and Mechanical Engineers to keep the armor platforms rolling. As I conclude my address, I thank His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Grand Commander, Order of the Federal Republic, President and Commander-in-Chief of our Armed Forces, for his continued support to the Nigerian Army. I equally thank the Honorable Minister of Defense, the Honorable Minister of State Defense, Chief of Defense Staff, and members of the National Assembly for their passion for making the Army better. Also, I thank the government and the good people of Bauchi State for giving the Nigerian Army Armored Corps and other Nigerian Army formations and units in Bauchi a home. To the retired armor officers here with us, I thank you for your undying love and passion for the Armor Corps. Your input is always invaluable, and we look forward to you sharing ideas with us. For our recently retired armor generals who will be pulled out tomorrow, I want to say a big thank you for your service and wish you the most rewarding and fulfilling retirement life.
My appeal to Nigerians who have taken up arms against the state is that they see reason that it is only an atmosphere of peace that the economy can thrive, we can experience progress, and all those things that they desire from the government, from the state, can be realized. So I appeal to them that they should drop their arms and seek dialogue and other means through which their grievances can be addressed. For my troops, my charge is that they continue to do what they are doing. They must continue to remain disciplined, dedicated, and committed to this task that the army has been charged with under the Constitution. So they must not relent, and regardless of the challenges that we face in all the theaters, they must continue to soldier on till we accomplish peace and security in the nation.
Thank you, sir.